It started with a strange smell from a dinner tray and ended with a career destroyed. A flight attendant served the wrong man moldy food, laughed, and walked away. But hours later, two men in suits were waiting for her at the airport. Who was that passenger in first class? You're about to find out. If you're part of the Black Visionaries family, hit that like button right now. Subscribe for more jawbone stories like this one. The man sitting in C2A wasn't just another passenger. He was Jordan Miles, one of the youngest Black CEOs in America, founder of a billion-dollar tech empire called Next Edge Systems, the company that powered digital operations for hundreds of airlines, including the one he was flying with that day. But the flight attendant standing before him, Emily Harris, didn't recognize him, or maybe she simply didn't care. She smiled politely, though her eyes said something else. Cold, dismissive. And when Jordan quietly said, "Excuse me, ma'am, I think this meal's spoiled," she tilted her head, looked down at him, and said, "Oh, sir, that's impossible. Our food is perfectly fine. Maybe your taste is the problem." A few heads in first class turned. Jordan blinked, stunned. He'd faced arrogance before, but not like this. He spoke again, calm but firm. "I'm serious. You might want to check the rest of the meals. Someone could get sick." Emily gave a small laugh. "If you don't like it, don't eat it. But we don't take food returns, sir." And with that, she walked away, tossing her ponytail as if he wasn't worth another second of her time. Jordan stared at the moldy plate. Then, with quiet control, he pressed the service button again. A young male attendant, Ryan Carter, appeared a moment later. "Yes, sir. Is everything okay?" Jordan gently turned the tray toward him. Ryan's face went pale. "Oh my God, sir, I'm so sorry. This should never have happened." Within minutes, the flight supervisor arrived, horrified. She apologized repeatedly, promised to remove the food immediately, and offered Jordan anything else he wanted from the galley. But Jordan simply smiled, his tone steady and polite. "No, thank you. I've lost my appetite. Could I just have a cup of water? Oh, and the name of the attendant who served this." The supervisor hesitated, sensing something serious, but eventually said quietly that would be Emily Harris. Jordan nodded once. "Thank you." He didn't say another word for the rest of the flight. He sat there in silence, looking out the window, replaying the moment again and again. Not the insult, but the carelessness, the lack of respect, the assumption that he was someone who wouldn't matter. Because if there's one thing Jordan had learned on his way up the ladder, it's that the most dangerous thing in the world isn't hate. It's disrespect disguised as routine. Hours later, the plane began its descent into Los Angeles. Jordan straightened his suit jacket, collected his laptop, and stood up calmly when they landed. He gave Ryan a polite nod and stepped off the plane without a single glance toward Emily. She, meanwhile, was laughing with another flight attendant near the door. "Some passengers just love to complain," she whispered. You'd think he'd never seen airplane food before. She didn't know who she was talking about. Not yet. As she entered the terminal, two men in dark navy suits stood waiting beside the jet bridge. They had security badges clipped to their belts and the airline's corporate emblem on their lapels. "Emily Harris?" one of them asked. She blinked, confused. Yes. Please come with us, ma'am. We need to discuss an incident that occurred during Flight 240. Her heart dropped. "Wait, what? Did something happen?" "Please," one of the men said firmly. "This won't take long." They led her into a small private conference room just beyond the terminal. The walls were sterile white, the air cold. Inside sat a man in a tailored charcoal suit, holding a cup of coffee. He looked calm. Controlled. 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 Her throat went dry. He looked up at her, eyes steady but not angry. "Miss Harris," he began slowly, "I didn't want to do this here, but I think it's important that you understand what happened today." She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came. Jordan continued, "You served a paying passenger food that was visibly spoiled. When that passenger tried to inform you, you mocked him and dismissed a potential health hazard in front of others. That's not a mistake, Emily. That's a choice. Her lips trembled. Sir, I didn't mean. He interrupted gently. No, you didn't care. There's a difference. At that moment, another man entered the room, the airline's regional operations manager, Mr. Donovan. Mr. Miles, he said respectfully, shaking his hand, we're terribly sorry for this incident. We value your partnership and will ensure immediate action is taken. Emily's eyes widened. Partnership? The manager turned toward her, face tight. Miss Harris, are you aware of who this man is? She shook her head weakly. This is Jordan Miles, CEO of NextEdge Systems. His company provides over $200 million worth of IT infrastructure to our airline every year. You didn't just serve a spoiled meal. You insulted one of our most important partners. Emily's legs nearly gave out. I didn't know. Jordan stood up slowly, buttoning his jacket. It's not about who I am, Emily. It's about how you treated someone you thought was less than you. That's what matters. The room went silent. The room went silent. Finally, Mr. Donovan sighed. Effective immediately, you're suspended pending review. Please surrender your ID and company badge. Tears welled in her eyes as she handed them over. The weight of the situation crashed down on her. Her years of work, her reputation, her income, all gone because she couldn't show basic respect. Jordan walked toward the door, pausing only once to look back. You never know who you're serving, Emily. Power doesn't always wear a label. Sometimes it just sits quietly and takes notes. And with that, he left. By the time Jordan reached his car, the story had already started spreading online. One of the first-class passengers had recognized him, recorded the confrontation, and posted it with the caption, "Flight attendant serves moldy food to Black CEO. His response is pure class." Within hours, it went viral. People across social media praised Jordan for his calm reaction, his patience, and the way he handled disrespect without anger or shouting. Others demanded the airline take responsibility, calling it an example of the quiet racism people still face daily. The airline issued a public apology, announcing a full review of staff behavior and food safety procedures. But Jordan didn't comment, not publicly, at least. A week later, during a tech conference in San Francisco, a journalist finally asked him about the incident during a live interview. Jordan smiled faintly, leaned into the microphone, and said, "It wasn't about getting someone fired. It was about accountability. Respect isn't a luxury. It's the least we owe each other as human beings. Whether you're a CEO or a cleaner, you deserve dignity." The audience erupted in applause. Clips of that moment flooded the internet again, turning Jordan's words into a viral quote shared worldwide. Meanwhile, Emily's story took a quieter turn. A few months later, she reportedly started working at a local diner near LAX. One evening, a customer left a note under her receipt. It read, "Everyone deserves a second chance. Use yours well." The tip? $1,000. Signed only, J. Jordan never confirmed whether it was him, but those who knew him best, they didn't need proof.
That's just the kind of man he was. He didn't fight fire with fire. He taught a lesson with grace. And that's the difference between power and wisdom. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button right now and subscribe to the channel for more powerful, true inspired stories that remind us respect costs nothing, but it can change everything.
You're watching Black Visionaries, where every story reveals how strength and humility walk hand in hand.